Okay, year seven. It's Friday. It's been a long, painful process, but I think I've managed to embed a video with sound that I made earlier today. It's actually yesterday now, but let's push you through. Let's push you into Macbeth. You need to know what chivalry means. Do you remember last year studying uh, this word? What does it mean? Have a think. Um, it is the honourable, polite, and noble way of behaving that knights demonstrate. It means they're polite to their prisoners, they're polite to their women, they're honest. Uh, what characters embodied those qualities? Do you remember? I can imagine you're thinking George from Chaucer, and the dragon, and perhaps the character of Lancelot as well. How about treason, last lesson? Do you remember what treason is? Well, treason is the way people would plot to overthrow a monarch or government. And an example of that was the gunpowder plot. Now, historically, what was the punishment for treason? Do you remember? It had to be particularly brutal and particularly discouraging. It was a sentencing to be hung, drawn, and quartered, and finally beheaded. And you need to know what valiant means today, because Macbeth is a valiant character, certainly at first, meaning he's heroic and boldly courageous. The word stems from the Latin to be strong, powerful, and worthwhile. Macbeth is considered worthwhile by King Duncan. Now, it's a reminder of what we want from you. Notes today, notes on Monday for yourselves, and some work to be marked on Wednesday, please. Today we're going to evaluate characters, specifically witches, and in the second scene, Macbeth. Now, I mentioned I made a summary in plain English of scenes 1 and 2, and prior to that there's a little background as to where Macbeth is set in Scotland. So have a quick listen, and I'll see you on the other side for 3 minutes.
Year 7, greetings. Welcome to a heath in the south of England. Why am I on a heath? Well, this is similar to the environment in which the first scene of Macbeth takes place. That's the scene of the three witches. And we're going to summarize that scene and the scene that follows it. But first, I need to let you know that the play takes place not in the south of England, here, but up in Scotland. Where exactly in Scotland? If I rotate the camera, I'll be able to show you. At the center bottom of the screen is a place called Inverness. That's where Macbeth lives. He'll be promoted soon to the place called to become a lord of a place called Cawdor, which is over a few miles over to the east, and further east is a place called Forres, which is also the stage to a few more scenes in the play. So Macbeth takes place in Scotland in around the 1200s. If I can zoom out, I can show you just how far away we are from England. There it is, England versus Scotland. So scene 1 introduces three witches. The first witch asks her friends when the three of them will get together again. And they also they suggest meeting in thunder or lightning or rain, because, as you know, witches can control the weather. And the third witch says, we'll meet again when the battle's lost and won. So we know that there's going to be some sort of conflict. And They also say we'll meet when the hurly-burly's done. The hurly-burly is a sort of dance. So we know that these three women are rather mischievous, and they're going to treat life and the characters they meet as if they're partners in a dance, pawns in a game, people to be manipulated. Let's go on to scene 2, which takes place on a battlefield. The battle's just finished. This is an army captain on the right-hand side, and he has a friend of his called Malcolm. Now, Malcolm is the prince, and his father is receiving a battlefield report because his father, the king, I should say, is receiving a report that Malcolm was rescued, having been a hostage during a battle, and the captain says that Malcolm was rescued thanks to an extremely brave Scottish soldier called Macbeth. And the captain goes on to explain how Macbeth sliced his way through several of the enemy and turned the fortunes of the battle, which looked desperate for them, into their favour. And the king naturally is happy to hear that and goes on to reward Macbeth handsomely for his efforts.
So, year 7, let's start reading Act 1, Scene 1. I'm going to leave you to that with the text you've been sent, but I'll summarise it for you using these words. Hurly-burly is a dance. Remember, the witches treat life as if it's a game. You'll notice they talk in rhyme, as in Shakespeare do many fairies, spirits, sprites, and witches indeed. Life to them is like a pantomime, a poem, or a nursery rhyme. Ear means before. They speak of meeting ere the setting sun. A heath is where they're going to meet Macbeth, and one of the witches is called by her familiar, a grey cat, another witch by her toad. One witch says, "We'll meet later then, until later on." So have a read of scene 1 and give us first impressions. Just summarise what happens in that scene. In scene 2, I mentioned it takes place on a battlefield where King Duncan is learning from a wounded captain, what happened. The captain says that the battle was close. It was the captain's side against somebody called MacDonald's side, a rebel called MacDonald's side. It was even, and both sides were like two spent swimmers or tired swimmers. They also talk about MacDonald being swarmed by the multiplying villainies of nature. That means he's been influenced by bad thoughts, bad ambitions, and MacDonald, I should say, has the support of kerns and gallowglasses. Kerns are fighting men, and gallowglasses their weapons. And they also have the support of a goddess called Fortune. That means fortune. You've heard of the phrase, fortune favours the brave, perhaps, which Fortune is a Greek goddess of luck, and she gives her favour to brave men. So luck is with MacDonald against Duncan and against the captain. But they have a character called Macbeth with them. So as the quarrel continues, Macbeth, he doesn't mind, he doesn't care whose side Fortune's on, because Macbeth is so brave and chivalrous, and he has so much fighting skill. He doesn't care on whose side the Greek goddess of luck is, because he's so confident in his own abilities, and he swings his sword around and swings the luck round to Duncan's side. And later on, after MacDonald has been carved from the nave to the chaps by Macbeth, that means cut from the navel to the jaw and beheaded, another character from Norway tries to take the opportunity to defeat Macbeth and Banquo, who managed to repulse the Norwegian by doubly redoubling their efforts, making a greater effort. So they have 2 victories in one. They fend off 2 attacks and turn the whole area into a burial place, almost as if, in the captain's words, they are bathing in blood. So good luck with those. Your teacher should have sent you 2 texts, scene 1 and scene 2, and 2 attachments. Have a read and answer these questions, or complete these 2 tasks. So just a sentence or 2, firstly, about what happens in each of the scenes you've studied, and secondly, to give us your first impressions of Macbeth and the witches, and that ends your beginning of Macbeth.